All right, so today we're going to go ahead and do a training on presentations, all right? Or as I like to say, the sales process, all right? How many of you guys have a process when you do a presentation? And what I mean by a process is that every time you go into a presentation, it is somewhat the same. I understand the words change a little bit, but your flow, where you start, the different stages are pretty much consistent. Everyone here have something like that? And if you don't, if you're reinventing yourself every time you're doing a presentation, you're working twice as hard, right? Because you're not getting very defined or very good at what you're trying to do. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to turn your presentation into a sales process, okay? And it's an art form. And when you get good at it, you'll be amazed on how much your closing percent will increase. Sound good? Mm-hmm. Okay. So first thing that we want to talk about is the fact that there's 4 stages to a sale, all right? The first one is cold calling. Now, all of you guys have been through the training where we teach the card and smile technique, correct? And do you guys mostly use that? It's a good way to get in there, give a little bit of information, and get out with an appointment, right? Because you're only trying to sell time. You're not busy trying to sell an ad or anything. The next stage is the actual presentation, and we're going to talk about the 9-step rule to a presentation today. After that is closing and objections. That is a class that we'll be given a little bit later. I will touch on it a little bit today as well, kind of help you a little bit for closing some deals. We're going to talk about one of my favorite closes, which is a new one. And then finally, keeping your customers. All right, you work so hard to go out there and cold call. You work so hard to find them and to talk them into sitting down with you, and then you did an amazing presentation. Well, all of that is for nothing if they leave you after 2 months, right? I mean, that's the worst feeling in the world. You work so hard for a customer and then all of a sudden they're not there anymore. And that's going to be the sale after the sale. And that's another class that we have coming up as well, where we can talk to you about how to keep your customer, how to do great customer service, and then the little things that make the difference, okay? All right, so the presentation, all right, first of all, I want to tell you about the different steps to a presentation. All right, there's 9 steps to a presentation. So I'm going to go over them just as a list right now, and then a little bit later I'm going to dig into each one of them, okay? So the first step is going to be preparation, all right? Preparation is the first step in a good presentation. Step number 2, your introduction or your icebreaker, okay? Who here is a comedian when they do their icebreaker? Come up with some kind of jokes or anything like that? No one? A little bit? Okay.
Yeah, just something to break the ice.
Break the ice, kind of make them feel comfortable.
Comfort zone.
Yep. Anyone else use humor? Okay, Julie? Julie, you seem like someone who'd use humor. I always use humor. Needs assessment. Needs assessment. By far one of the most important parts of any presentation is finding out what they need. Right? How many of you go to the doctor, you walk in there and you just stand there and the doctor goes, you know, you need a Vicodin and a Band-Aid, right? No, you have to go in there and he asks you questions, right? You are the doctor of sales. You have to do the same thing, and in the needs assessment portion, we're going to talk about that. The next thing is about Save-On. About Save-On. This is your opportunity to let them know who they're dealing with. Right? And not just Save-On, but you as a salesperson also. Right? Now remember, we're going to talk about this stage, but it's more about the customer than it is about the company. So you want to let them know a little bit who you are, but you really want to pay attention to the customer, okay? And we'll talk about that more in a minute. The introduction to the product, right? And when I mean introduction, I mean introduction. In other words, I'm going to show you how to introduce the product to the table, okay? Recommendation. After talking to them and hearing their needs assessment, introducing the product, asking lots of questions, now it's time for you, the doctor of sales, to go ahead and do your recommendation. How many of you guys do a good recommendation and base it on what they tell you? If you're not basing your recommendation on what the customer tells you during the needs assessment and during the introduction of the product, you're missing a key spot that's going to increase your closing rate. Okay? And then the close. all right? And there's a variety. There's 12 different, actually there's 13 different closes, all right, that you can go through. And we're going to talk about them. And then 8, objections. Why did we push objections way down to the end? Anyone know? Why is objections so far down the list?
Often we don't get the objection until they hear what our recommendation or our proposal is.
If you're doing a good presentation, there's not going to be an objection until around the close time. And then it'll typically be an objection about maybe the money or an objection about they need to talk to someone, which is a stall objection. All right? And so we're going to talk about how to funnel all your objections towards the end of the presentation, okay? When you're ready to handle them. During the presentation, that's your time to go ahead and figure out what they need, figure out how you're going to solve their problem, and get them happily involved. At the end is when you can listen to any objections that they might have and be able to take care of them. And then finally is saying thank you. If you are not sending a thank you email for a variety of different reasons, or saying thank you some way, whether it's a postcard or however you operate, you are missing a key part to your presentation. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to talk to you about it in this section, about how important it is to go ahead and thank your customer, all right? Because there's a lot of times you can close a deal just by sending a thank you letter. Okay, sound good? Everyone with me still? All right, good. Okay, so let's go into preparation. All right, in the preparation part, there is a lot to preparation. And it's not just about the customer. There's the beginning and the top of the pyramid is preparing yourself. Okay? If you know that you have 3 appointments today and you know what time they are, you need to get mentally ready for those appointments. All right, get up in the morning, have that good breakfast. Give yourself plenty of time to make sure that you're there early. All right, go on the internet. All right, make sure that you prepare everything you can mentally to be prepared to go in there and have an amazing presentation. If you think about a football player who plays in the Super Bowl, he played all year long and he made it to the Super Bowl. Okay, when he walks out there on that field, and the time starts and his team's got the ball and they're driving down the field and he throws that pass for the first touchdown in the game. Do you think that was the first touchdown he's thrown this year? No. Do you think all the ones that you've seen him play on TV or anything were the only ones he threw? No. You can double or triple that because of the amount of time he practices throwing that ball. Right? You as salespeople have to prepare for your presentation. You should be practicing with each other, right? You should be practicing in the mirror. I don't care. But take the time to get better at your trade. Take the time to prepare for every single presentation like it's the only presentation you're ever going to give. And if you do that, you're going to be amazed on how much better you're going to be at closing sales and at giving a very, very eloquent presentation, all right? The next portion after you prepare yourself is to never be late. Right? Would you guys agree that those are the 3 worst words you can ever say to a customer is, I'm sorry, I'm late? Would everyone agree with me there?
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of anything worse. All right? Now, I do know stuff happens. All right? But we've talked about in the time management class that one of the keys is understanding that everything you do takes an amount of time. Everything, no matter what you do. If you have to drive from point A to point B, and it says by your MapQuest it's going to take you 30 minutes, you're probably not going to make it there in 15. All right? So give yourself the proper amount of time to make sure that you never have to tell a customer that you're sorry that you're late. Okay? That's key. The next thing is visit their website. There is very few companies out there that do not have websites. You can get some great information. You can even find out on their website whether or not they have coupons. A lot of people put it on their website. You can find out how many locations they have instead of stumbling on it during the needs assessment portion. Take the time to look at their website and identify key points that you want to know about the customer. All right? And also, not only their website, but you can use Google. Google the business. Google, do you know that if you type in Google the name of the business and then coupons or ads, you will pull up some of the ads that they've ran with some of your competitors, some of the coupons that they've ran, and you have an idea on what they've already done. So you're walking in there educated. Instead of asking questions that you don't know the answer to, ask questions that you already know the answer to, because you're trying to lead them to a certain point. Everyone agree with me? Okay. Find similar business ads. You guys have a great resource with Ryan here in Chicago. All you have to do is, if you're going to go and meet with someone who's let's say an oil change guy, all right? You can go ahead and look in Magazine Manager, find all the oil change companies that are in gray, and click on them and look at the ads that they've ran. It's that easy. Look at what's working. Call up the rep. Paula, I noticed that you have an oil change guy, and he's been with you for 2 years. Can you tell me what's been working so well for him?
It's 1999 coupons.
He runs a great offer. All right, whatever the case may be, but do research, because, guys, why do a presentation unless you don't think you're going to close it? I never go into a presentation thinking that I'm going to have to come back. Never. If I leave that presentation and did not close it, I'm more surprised than when I leave a presentation and I've closed it. And if you're the opposite, it could be the fact that you're not prepared. It could be that you're not doing everything that you can to make sure you close that deal. You're going in and you're playing football against the other team, and you're trying to beat them with 4 players. All right? Give yourself the full team. Do everything you can to make sure that your presentation is absolutely amazing. All right? And it's all right here, preparation. All right? Let's talk about a couple more things. Prepare 1 or 2 proposals. How many of you, when you have a presentation with a customer, have a gut feeling a little bit about what they're going to buy ahead of time? Raise your hand. Let me see. Okay, so everyone has an idea, somewhat. All right. In Magazine Manager, you can do a proposal. You guys realize that? Everyone know you can do a proposal, right? How about doing one for what your gut feeling is? All right. I think that they're going to end up running a half page in one zone. All right. And I'm going to do a proposal for 4 issues, and I'm going to do it at 25% commission. Right, because my time's worth something, right? But I need to be ready just in case he beats me up a little bit or something like that. I'm going to do another proposal, half page, at 20% commission, but it's going to be 6 times. Because if I'm going to give something, I'm going to get something. You guys see how that works? If you have both proposals, you're not fumbling around trying to write another proposal. You've already got it done. I had a feeling, John, that you would be interested in 6 issues. If we can go ahead and do the rate that you're interested in, would you be able to move forward today?
Yeah.
And I have the proposal ready for him to sign right when he says yes. Be prepared, guys. All right? Another thing, bring 3 different magazines to your meeting. And I even talk about the 3 different magazines. One of them, guys, in my car, I have a stack like that of a magazine that was printed 2 years ago. All right? But it's my favorite cover. It's this fitness company that ran a front cover ad, and the purples and everything just looks awesome. It's by far my favorite cover I've ever seen that we've done. And there's a lot of great covers. But I have a stack of them because guess what? When I'm showing a customer, I'm showing them my favorite cover. And I'm pulling out, I'm like, here's a cover, And especially if it's going to be a company that might buy the cover. Have a cover that shows what your company is like. Don't show your worst one or the one you don't like. Don't just grab it because, I'm going to grab a couple magazines because this is their area. No, be prepared. Yes?
Yeah, Doug, wouldn't you look for a cover in a lot of cases that's actually conducive to the industry that they're participating in?
Exactly. So let's jump over to that too. I'm almost there. The next thing, all right, the market that the customer's in. If you're thinking it's a local customer, grab your local magazine. Show them what you're trying to accomplish. Show them how you've made your magazine and how we're missing that oil change here. Okay? So have that local magazine with you. After that, like Dick said, a book with similar business in it, whether it's the front cover, whether it's a half. If I think his Ace of Spades is a half page, and what I mean by Ace of Spades, but that's what I think he's going to buy, and I'll go over that here in a little bit. then I'm going to go in there with a magazine that has a half-page oil change and show them exactly how nice his ad could look. You guys agree with that? I might even find the one that Paula has, the customer that I talked to her about. I might find that one, especially if it's not in my zone. All right? So yes, Dick, to answer your question, I would have one, whether it's the cover or an ad inside, but I'd have something similar. Do you guys all agree with this so far? Does this make sense to you to be this prepared? Now, I want you, and you don't have to answer this question, but I want you to think, I've only gone halfway down the preparation list. How many of you are really this prepared? How many of you really go through this to do a presentation? Or is your idea of being prepared putting it on your calendar? It's on my calendar. I'm ready. I'll be there tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And then you're hurrying to get there by 2 o'clock. Change the way you prepare will change the way you sell. I promise you. All right? Another thing, all right? Those of you who use the iPad presentation, and it is in the back office, I don't know if anyone, does anyone use the iPad presentation? Okay, all right. All right, have it ready on your iPad just in case there's a problem with service when you get there, or you can't pull it up online or whatever. Have that prepared, and it's right there in the PDF Expert where you can just show it, all right, if you use that iPad presentation. That way you're not fumbling. You look more professional when you're prepared, all right? Always bring 3 of everything in case you are joined, all right? And what I mean by that is 3 media kits. All right. If you have your favorite cover, bring in 3 of those magazines, 3 of the one with a similar. It is much better, and you look more prepared and more professional if you can give each one of the ladies who are sitting there with you a copy of the magazine that you're talking about. Okay? Everyone understand that? All right. Something that I think a lot of you do extremely well, and I'm really excited about this, is reaching out to other Save-On reps and asking them for testimonials. All right? Find out who else, especially if it's someone that maybe it's not a common type category. All right? Hey, I finally have a customer in here that's a dentist. All right, and I need to know who else has a dentist. How can you help me talk to this dentist? What did you do? What did you say to them? What type of ad? Whatever the case may be, do a little interview with another rep to find out what will help you close this deal with this dentist. Maybe there's a secret. All right, I see that happen a lot with insurance. You guys talk all the time back and forth when we're going after an insurance company. Do the same thing with other categories. Help each other out. Be a team. I tell you what, one of the proudest things that I say when I'm on an appointment and I'm talking to a customer is the fact that I have 75 other business professionals that are out there talking to customers constantly. And I tell them, we all talk to each other and we all help each other. And I tell you what, I will find out nationally what is the best offer for you to run, because I'm going to talk to other sales reps in our company. Use that. Use the fact that you're part of a big family here. Okay? And then finally, when you set up the appointment, especially if you're doing the card and smile technique where it's a quick hit, ask them a couple questions at the end. All right? Just a couple quick questions about their business. And here's a couple of good examples of some of those questions. All right? How long have you been in business? All right? Great question to ask. All right? So that way you can get a feeling on whether it's a newer business or a longer business, you know. Are you doing any type of advertising?
Yes.
Okay. Who are you advertising with? All right. What do you like about your current advertising? What would you change? All right. Those are some great questions to get you going for when you have your presentation. Those few questions right there will help you close a deal. Right? Because if you find out that he would change the fact that he wishes he knew that it would work, I'm spending all this money on advertising and I'm not even sure if it's going to work. All right? What does in your mind think about that we have to offer him?
Call tracking.
Call tracking?
Guarantee.
The guarantee? All right? So those are going to be key factors in your presentation. Don't you agree? Mm-hmm. Maybe even the close. All right? And by knowing what he's doing and what he likes about it, you can talk about how you have similarities. Okay? That's all knowledge that you don't have to guess. All you got to do is ask. All right? Make sense? Okay. Yes?
Would you ask like the average ticket price too?
You could ask right then, and then if you wanted to, you could even ask the budget. You know, do you have a budget? Okay? There's a lot of good questions that you can ask and once you've got the appointment. All right? That'll help you with the presentation. Otherwise, you can ask those same questions when you get into the needs assessment as well. Okay, so after you're prepared, you're going to go now into the introduction or the icebreaker. All right, remember, in your code calling, if you're doing the card and smile technique, which is kind of a quick hit, he might not even remember your name. All right, he's going to kind of remember if he has an appointment with you. Okay, so the introduction has to be starting out with giving your name again. Okay, so you're walking up, and let's say that I have an appointment with Julia. All right, hi Julia, I'm Doug Sheldon. We have an appointment today. I gave her my name again. All right, I do not want to sit down in the presentation and just walk up and say, hi Julia, we had an appointment today, and she's like, oh yeah, okay. And we spend the first 15 minutes where she finally shouts out, Brad, your name's Brad, right? No, all right? Give her your name to help clear that air right away, okay? And that way she doesn't have to ask you either, okay? After you give your name, okay, you want to thank them for the meeting. Julia, I really appreciate you meeting with me today. All right, thank you so much, okay? Once you've thanked them for the meeting, you want to reconfirm that you still have time. All right, 15 to 30 minutes, depending on your performance and how well you can do a presentation, how quickly you can do it, okay? All right, now, if they tell you that they only have 5 or 10 minutes, that they're in a hurry, reschedule. Do not try and do a presentation in 5 to 10 minutes, especially if you're not able to do it, right? Because all you're doing is you're giving her a little bit of the good stuff, and then she's going to walk away, and she's going to forget it all. And guess what you have? A stall tactic where you're not going to be able to close the deal. Okay? So I just wanted to make sure, Julie, do we still have about 15 to 20 minutes?
Sure, that should be fine.
Okay. And I did that right here in the beginning. Okay? That is a key part. And guess what? A lot of us sales professionals forget that. We forget the simple thing of reintroducing ourselves. We're excited. We got an appointment. Dick, I got an appointment today. Come on, get excited with me, all right? But I forget to go in there and do it correctly. So make sure you think about this. Do a proper greeting, all right? Make sure you give them the right questions right up front that they have enough time for you. After that, you go into an icebreaker, all right? Now, the icebreaker is meant to make them feel comfortable, and you too, all right? Kind of get you talking a little bit. All right? If you're not funny, don't try and be funny. All right? If you do not have a sense of humor, matter of fact, if your friends tell you you're not funny, do not try and be funny. All right? Okay? So you end up looking cheesy. So don't be that way. All right? Switch to one of the other things. In all of these northern states, we are completely safe to talk about the weather. All right? Because it changes constantly. All right? It is a topic of conversation, all right? So talk about the weather. You can also look around the room for common interest, all right? Now, I don't mean if you see a coffee pot, say, oh, I drink coffee too, all right? It's not quite what I'm looking for. I mean, if you see maybe a University of Illinois sign up, oh, you know, my cousin goes there, you know? Or something you notice that you have a sport that you guys both play, maybe pool, maybe shooting, maybe crocheting, whatever the case may be, but common interest works. If you don't have anything, you go into a room and it's a white room with no pictures, all right, and the weather is pretty normal today, you can always talk about their business, all right? As business owners, what do they love to talk about? Themselves, their baby, all right? So you can always talk about their business. Do not make this into a 2-hour conversation about trying to get an icebreaker, all right? It's great that you make it comfortable, But don't make it where you're on and on and on, where you just ended up having a new best friend because you talked 45 minutes about, how you both have something in common. All right? Quick to the point, and then break it off and get to the next portion. Do you guys all agree with this? Does this make sense? All right. And I hope that I'm re-sparking something where you're like, I just don't do that enough. I need to do that a little more. Because that's what I want you to get out of this. I want you to get little light bulbs to keep popping. All right? All right, let's move into the next section. The next section is going to be the needs assessment portion. You need to know what their ace of spades is here. Now, does anyone know what I mean by that? What their ace of spades is? Anyone? Okay, I'm using words that no one knows. There you go. Go ahead.
Kind of like their hot button, what they're really interested in, what they're trying to reach, or something that sparks their
Kinda.
real need. in or
Kinda.
whatever.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw something here real quick. Does this close? Yeah, it does. Okay. So, any one of you three ladies play cards? Bridge? Know a deck of cards?
I've played cards, but
You know about cards then, right? Okay. So you're going to be my test subject for this. All right. So in a deck of cards, you have two colors. You have black and you have red. Pick one.
red,
Okay. In the red cards, you have two different suits. You have diamonds and you have hearts. Pick either diamonds or hearts.
diamonds,
Okay. So that would leave you with what? If you pull away the diamonds, it'd leave you with what?
hearts,
Hearts. Okay. And in the hearts, you have high cards and you have low cards. The low cards are 10 and below, and the high cards are the jack, queen, king, and ace. Either pick low or high.
high,
Okay? In the high cards, you have a jack and a queen, and you have a king and an ace. Pick either the jack and queen or the king and ace.
jack and queen,
Okay? Out of the jack or the queen, pick one of those two.
queen,
Okay, so you have red hearts, queen of hearts, right? So what I did is I asked you questions to lead to your queen of hearts. All right? So what I was doing is finding out basically what your queen of hearts is. Same thing with if I would have asked a guy, I would have used ace of spades. All right? But the thing is, I had to ask questions to find out what was going to be her card. It's the same thing with sales. You have to ask the right questions to find out what their queen of hearts is or what their ace of spades is. By asking a series of leading questions, you can get down to your queen of hearts. Okay? You guys see how that works? All right. So the reason that you're going to ask questions is there's 5 main reasons to ask questions. Okay? The first one is that you qualify the person as the buyer. Karen, are you the owner here?
I sure am.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm qualifying her as someone who's the buyer. Now, I have the most important question coming up here in a second, but I just want to talk about the 5 reasons why we ask questions. Okay? The next one is it keeps the customer engaged. Wouldn't you agree, Bob?
Yes.
Okay. Pete, do you think that it keeps you engaged when people ask you questions?
Yes.
Okay. John?
Absolutely.
Why do you think I ask so many questions when I'm doing training? I got to keep you guys awake, right? All right. It also shows that you're a professional. If you try and just tell the customer what they're going to buy, it probably isn't going to work too well for you, is it? No. But by asking them what their needs are, it shows that you're a professional, you care about their needs, and that way you're going to be able to answer them. All right? After that, it's going to help you, questions are going to help you answer later objections. All right? They're going to tell you what you need to do for them. All you have to do is find a solution for it. All right? And then lastly, it lets you know which product or which queen of hearts to focus on. Okay? So if I tell a customer, and let's say it's Julia, that she should do a quarter page in one area. And in her mind, she's thinking she should be doing a full page in 3 areas. Are we on the same wavelength? And if I tell her a quarter page in one area, she might end up agreeing with me because I'm the professional, but she knows her business, and she knows that she also pulls from the other 2 areas. So instead of telling her, when we get to the part of product knowledge, I'm going to show you how to ask her where she should be, instead of telling her what she should do. Questions make you a professional, right? And they also help you understand what the customer's needs are. Now, I want to talk about the most important question. I want you all to write it down, all right? This question has to be one of the questions you ask in a needs assessment, if not the first one, all right? And that question is, are you the only decision maker for the marketing? Will you have to go over any of this with anyone else? John, why is that an important question?
So you don't waste your time.
It lets you know if you're going to be the teacher or the preacher, okay? And what I mean by that is, if you're the teacher, if they answer that question, oh, I got to talk to my wife, I got to talk to my business partner, oh, I got to talk to the other managers, the other owners, you become the teacher. And you pull out your black marker that you keep with you, and everything that you talk about, you do big circles and write numbers down in the media kit. So that way, when they're showing the other person, they have your guidelines to go by. Okay? Oh, well, it looks like we talked about digital here. Oh, they have an amazing digital. And, oh, this is the zone that I picked out. This is a really good zone for us. And, oh, their guarantee. They have a great guarantee. And the reason why he can go through the media kit so quickly is because of the fact that I was the teacher and I wrote everything down and circled and highlighted, okay? He didn't go through the training class. It's not like I was having a meeting and I asked this question of Pete, all right? And Pete goes, no, I got to go over it with the owner. And I go, oh, well, then you need to come next Monday. We have a training class at Savon, and I'll teach you how to present this. And wouldn't that be great? Any of the managers, that we send them to a training class? Yeah, well, we don't do that. So you need to be the teacher. You pull out the marker and you start circling, okay? Now, on the other hand, if you ask that question, all right, you ask that question and they said, yes, I am the decision maker. Yes, I'm the only one who makes the decisions. I won't have to go over this with anyone else. And at the end of this, they tell you, well, I want to talk to my wife about it. What is that telling you? They're doing what?
Objection.
That's an objection. They're trying to stall, right? And you have a little bit to lean on because you asked a question and you can kind of go into it. And we'll talk about that when we get to objections. How many of you guys ask that question when you start a presentation? I know you ask it when you cold call because you want to know whether you're cold calling on the gatekeeper or the decision maker. But how many of you, when you start a presentation, actually ask that question? Okay, good. If you don't, I could ask the same question back to you now. How many of you run into stalls all the time where they say, oh, I got to talk to so-and-so. Oh, we'll come back later and stall tactics, objections can be taken care of just by asking that one question. Okay? So, everyone wrote it down, right? The most important question you can ask. All right. When it comes to the needs assessment portion of this, there is a questionnaire in the back office. Have you guys all seen it? It's a 2-page questionnaire. Okay. That questionnaire has the list. And if you want, you can even print them out, put them on 2-sided, so that way it's all on one piece of paper, and you can highlight certain questions during your preparation that you want to ask them. My favorite question, you guys probably hear me say it 100 times, I do not do a presentation without asking these, well, it's one question with a series of follow-up questions. The question I always ask is, do you advertise? Which I'm sure most of you guys ask that. But I always ask the 2 follow-ups to that one. What do you like about your advertising? And what would you change? I ask that every single presentation because it's a roadmap, guys. It tells you exactly what they like. So don't reinvent the wheel. We got that. Oh, you like the fact that it goes out to 25,000 people? We got that. You like the fact that your logo is nice and big? We got that. All right? I don't like that I can't track it. I don't like that it's in loose leaf and it's in an envelope. I don't like that I never really see my ad on TV. You know, they say it's on there, but I never catch it. It must be on at 2 in the morning, right? That's good, because all of those things they say they don't like are things you can talk about that we don't do. So ask that question and use that information to help you close the deal. Okay? Needs assessment. All right, let's look at the questions real quick. This is page 1. All right? And now all of this is in your back office. And I'm not going to go over every single question, but I can tell you right now that these questions, page 1 and page 2, are great questions to have with you at all times. How many of you have been cold calling and a business owner said to you, oh, I got time right now. Let's talk about it right now. And you're like, I'm just meeting people today, right? because Doug in cold call training taught you not to sit down the first time you meet them, to set an appointment, right? And the guy goes, no, I can, let me hear it. What do you got, Scotty P? Right? Pull out this list or memorize some of these questions and say to him, you know, Scott, I appreciate that you have time. Is it okay if I ask you a couple of questions about your business?
Yeah, if you'd like.
Ask them some of these questions or have some of them memorized. Show that you're a professional. Get the information and then say to him, you know, Scott, with all of the information you gave me, I'm going to be extremely prepared for our meeting on Tuesday. I'll see you at 10 o'clock. Sounds good?
That works out great.
All right? Bring it around full circle. If they have time, don't just go, oh, no, I don't have time. I got to go to another meeting. I'm just meeting people today. No, turn it into something. You can ask them questions. You guys see the difference there? Okay? That's page 1, and then there's also page 2. All right? One of the questions that I think that more and more of you need to start asking too is, what is the best time of the year for your business? Which months are the best? And which months do you need the most help in? Or are you slower? See how I changed that wording? I hear sales reps all the time. Which are your best months? Which are the best months? Which ones are your worst months? No, which ones do you need the most help in? Okay? Which ones are the ones that we can help you the most in? Right? And you come up with a campaign. Yes, I said the word, campaign. All right? Campaign marketing. Maybe in the slower months we go to a quarter page. All right? The rest of the months we're running halves, fulls, and covers. Whatever the case may be, put a bundle together. Be creative with your customers. Don't expect them to do it. You're the professionals. You're the ones who are sitting in these classes, right? They know how to make hot dogs, all right? They're really good at Corny's Grill on how to make hot dogs. But when it comes to marketing, Larry is the guy, all right? Larry's going to put a campaign together that's going to keep those seats filled by asking questions. All right, so any questions so far? Everything makes sense, guys? Is it a really good flow so far? Preparation, introduction, and then needs assessment. What was the next one? What was after needs assessment? Huh? About Save-On. And I even added and you. All right? This is your opportunity to talk about Save-On and the fact that we've been in business for 34 years. All right? Here in the local Chicago area, do you guys know how long we've been in business here? 23 years. All right? This is also a great opportunity for you to talk about the fact that we're a reputable business, all right? That we got an A+ rating in the Better Business Bureau. Your money and your marketing safe with us. We're not going anywhere, all right? We also mail to over 4 million homes throughout the company and 1 million homes right here in the Chicagoland area. And we do that monthly. But we also target down to 25,000 homes so you can really pinpoint those customers that are going to be the best local for your business, all right? Or the ones that you perceive to be your local customers. This is your opportunity, guys, to let the customer feel good about the company they're doing business with. But I don't want you to forget that you also need to take time to let them know who you are. Okay? And what I mean by that is, yes, I'm Doug Sheldon, all right? But I'm more than just Doug Sheldon. All right, Paula, if I end up working for you, I am going to bring to the table marketing experience of 28 years. All right? I'm going to bring to the table someone who's passionate about you succeeding. All right? We're going to be partners in this venture. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I look at your ad and give you the most up-to-date and the best offers that I can find throughout our entire company. I'm going to work hard to make sure that every single month I give you a call report to let you know how you're doing and let you know what my recommendations are for next month. All right? Are you telling your customer who you are? All right? Are you letting your customer know who you are? Because some of us in this room have some amazing experience. And to partner with you, I'd be honored to do it as a business owner. But if you're not telling them who you are, if you're skipping over the About Save On or in the About You portion, then all you're doing is selling the product. And the worst thing about it is, please don't tell me you're not even selling a product, you're just selling on price. Dick, I got a quarter page, $165. Sound good?
Very good.
That's all you need to do. If you're skipping all this, just walk in the room and say, Dick, I got a $165 quarter page. How's that sound? Got to go 6 times though, okay? All right, just sell on price, guys. All right. See how well your closing rate goes, or if you keep your customers. All right? Add these parts of your presentation. There needs to be a part about Save On, and there needs to be a part about you. But it's not a very long one. This should be a brief section of your presentation, right? Because what is this presentation about? The customer, okay? This is just a little bit of bragging time, all right? This is who I am, and I'm going to work for you. I'm your partner, all right? I work for you. Isn't that a good way? I mean, how do you think that makes the customer feel? For a half page, $495, all right, you can hire a experienced salesperson or marketing consultant in the area for $485 with my experience. That's got to make them feel pretty good to have that kind of professional working for them. All right, I'm worth that 25% commission, guys. I'm not going any lower than that. All right, and if you're selling on price, you're feeling like you're not worth it. Or you're not talking about the fact that you're worth it. You're not giving the and me portion of this. And those of you who haven't thought about who you are, that's homework. All right, I want you tonight, when you're done, at the end of the day, I want you to think about who you are. Think about who you are as a marketing consultant and what you have to offer to all your customers, because you need to start telling them that when you're doing your About Save On portion. Okay? So product introduction. Right? The reason why I call it product introduction is because I want you to introduce it to the table. Okay? When you come into a presentation, I want you to make sure that everything that you have is not out in the open. Okay? Don't come walking into the room with a handful of magazines and a media kit like this. All right? I'm not looking for you to have a harder job than you need to. All right? All of this, put it in a nice little suitcase, in a folder, something where they can't see it. All right? Anyone know the reason why I'm telling you to put this away? Why?
It's distracting.
Distracting?
That's what I was gonna say.
Distracting?
Because they wanna go for it right away.
They want to start looking at it?
Or you want them to pay attention.
Objections? You want them to pay attention to you? How many of you have walked in with a magazine before? Come walking in and they say, "Oh, you got a magazine. Oh, yeah, I'm not really doing magazines." All right? It gives you an objection before you're ready to start taking care of that objection. It throws off your 9-step rule. Okay? Have it put away. Right? And then I want to teach you now, there's 2 different products that you're going to go over in this portion of the presentation. One of them is the magazine, and one of them is the media kit. Now, I always start with the magazine, and I'm going to show you why, because I introduce it to the table. Julia, so after going over what you're telling me that you need as far as your marketing, I believe the one product that we have that would work really well for you is our magazine. Is it okay if I go ahead and show it to you now?
Sure.
And I will pull the magazine out of my folder and I introduce it to the table. Did you see how I asked her if it was okay if I showed it to her now? All right? That is a way to introduce it to the table. Now, I will make sure that in front of me and the customer, there's nothing there except for my magazine. Okay? I do not hold the magazine towards me and set it down and start going through it, right? I've already seen the magazine. You've already seen it. There is no reason for you to look at it again, is there? Okay? Take the magazine facing the customer and set it down, okay? Now, some of you are like, well, they don't open it. They stand there like Larry with their arms crossed and leaning back, right? I teach you a secret. It's kind of like handing a guy who's frowning a cute little kitten. He's going to smile, all right? It's the same thing with a guy who doesn't want to open the magazine. Here's the secret, right? This is the no one outside this room can know this secret. Here's how you get someone to open a magazine. Would you cross your arms for me, please? And lean them back. You say, would you go ahead and please look inside?
Okay.
There's the secret. You guys want to see it again? All right. Now, I'm going to teach you one more thing. A lot of times they're opening it up and they're awful upset that you asked them to open it and they start going through it really quickly. All right, so go ahead. You can slow them down by simply putting your hand in front of it. They're not going to flip over your hand. Okay? But don't just stop them like that. Make sure that you reach out there and talk about that page. Okay? That's for those hard people. Most people are not quite that way. All right? Get the customer talking about the magazine. In this portion, all right, you want to talk about the size of the ads, the different size ads that we have to offer. All right? You want to talk about the quality of the magazine, how the magazine is a nice, high gloss, full color magazine. Okay? You also want to talk about the fact that there's a lot of local people in the magazine. You know, have certain people to point out as they're going through it. If you handed them one that had a similar business, make sure that you point out, you know, that similar business. Okay? What are you trying to accomplish? Someone tell me what, and you've all shown people magazines, am I correct? So no one's new at this. What are you trying to accomplish at this portion of your presentation by handing them a magazine and let them look through it?
That they recognize the people around them,
Okay?
and they see that their neighbors also advertise.
Looking for locality.
That they could visualize themselves being in there.
That they visualize, okay? What's that going to take them to?
As far as
Kind of expand on it a little bit. Maybe the size of their ad?
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
The size of the
Was
ad.
that what you were going to say, Dick?
What
Oh,
they're actually doing is they're actually selling the ad to themselves.
thank you. This is the portion where you get them to sell themselves on it. And now, you don't just sit there quietly. You ask them questions where the answers are them telling you about how they like the magazine. Now, should I ask Val, what don't you like about our magazine right now? No.
You want to get them engaged in the process.
Yes, exactly. Yes, Scott.
No,
Oh, I thought you had a question. So at this portion, during this part of the product introduction, when you're doing the magazine, talk about all the great things about the magazine, but you also need to ask questions. So Karen, being an oil change company like yourself, would you say that a half page, we have a half page here, a half page size ad or a full page would be best for you? Did you notice I didn't ask her about the quarters or the sixes? What did I tell you that I thought my Queen of Hearts was going to be for this meeting, this presentation? A half page, one area, right? That's kind of my thoughts. If I'm thinking she's going to be a half page, one area, and I've even done 2 proposals, am I going to start talking about a 1/6 of a page? No, doesn't make any sense, does it, John? Okay, so do you think that a half page would be enough room for you, or do you feel that you would need to go more towards a full page?
Definitely a half page.
Half page?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is being on the front cover or the back cover important to you? sometime during the campaign, if you were able to for a good price, would you be interested?
Not the back cover, though.
Not the back cover,
No.
front cover? Okay. Now, I know because I did my preparation that I have 2 covers coming up within the next 6 months. And I put together a bundle ahead of time, and I'm going to see if I can sell her August in a bundle package. Good thinking, huh? Because I was prepared. All right, so this presentation, what am I doing? I'm asking her questions to get to my Queen of Hearts. Okay? And she said that, front cover would be good. She told me that the back cover wouldn't be good, John. So would I ask her about the back cover later?
No.
It's off the table, isn't it? Okay. Guys, this is so important, and it's using the product that you have to help you close the deal. Now, you can ask a couple more questions here. You need to find out what her demographic is for her customers, because you need to see whether the print, whether she's looking at this magazine saying this is for old people, right? So you need to get a feeling whether the print or our web is going to be the most important thing right now. It's okay if it's the web, because then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her such a good valuation on our media or our digital that it's going to make the print seem like it's free, all right? But I have to ask her. So what would you say here for your oil company most of your guys' customers are? As far as, are they male or female? I'm sorry.
Probably half and half.
Half and half? Okay, good split. Would you say that they're over the age of 25?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
All right. So I know that print's going to work well for her. All right. Hadn't it been the other way, then maybe I would have leaned a lot more digitally. All right. I'm still going to tell her about her digital, but I'm going to really go heavily on the print because her demographics fits ours. You guys see how that works? Now, am I asking a ton of questions? Am I saying a whole lot? It's very quick and brief about our product. I don't need to do much more, because then I start doing the opposite. I start selling her out of our book by talking too much. Okay? So overall, what do you think about the quality of our product?
It's nice. I like, the paper is a nice, slick, shiny paper, and the color looks very vibrant, and, it's pretty
And-
eye-catching.
And could you see your company being represented in our magazine?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I could, I would like to be toward the front,
Okay. All right.
I don't
Oh,
wanna
and
be-
we can talk about placement here in a little bit. I just want to make sure that everything I have is going to fit for you. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Okay. So, guys, now when she started talking placement, I could try and do a trial close right there. Well, if I was in the front, if I put you in the front, would we be able to move together now? And who knows, maybe I could have got it closed early. Right? I want to go a little more into detail for this training segment, but if there's an opportunity to close, it doesn't matter if it's when you first walk in. If John is the customer and I walk in and John goes, "Save on," I've been waiting for you guys to come. I want to do a half page in 3 zones. I'm not going to go through the whole presentation. I'm going to sign up for a half
Where do
page.
I sign?
Exactly. So if you feel that there's, words that are leading towards buying, then go ahead and go for that. And one of those words is talking about position. All right? Because if I can give her that position, are you ready to go ahead and move forward? All right, after I've done a good product knowledge and talked about all of the different items, shelf life, local businesses, size of ads, and I got a good feeling that she's a half page, am I right? And she likes our book, I'm done with the magazine for right now. Now, I don't want you guys, because you have it open, sitting here facing them, I don't want you to pull out the media kit and throw it on top of it, all right? It doesn't make you look very professional. All right, clean your house. Take the magazine, pick it up, and set it aside. All right, that way she's focused directly on what you have to show next. So if it's okay with you, Karen, I'd like to go ahead and show you our media kit now, and we can kind of determine which area we'd put the half page in. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay. So this is our media kit for the Chicagoland area. And as you can see, we have a great, let me go ahead and put that up. We have a great print magazine here, and that was a product that I felt would work best for you from what you and I talked about earlier. We also have some other print products. We have inserts and DALs, and maybe as we go further down the campaign, we can talk about including those into the marketing after I've made you a lot of money with the magazine. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
Okay. Now, we also have an amazing digital component that is with our magazine. And what it is we have at saveon.com a website that 48,000 unique visitors come to every single month. Okay? And on that website, and it's okay if I show it to you real quick, and I'd open up my iPad, and I'd go ahead and have it already preset to show her saveon.com. Now, I would be prepared, and I would make sure that I also had an oil change company, Acme Oil, which all of you guys know you can do Acme and then oil, and that is the Save On example for an oil change company. I could go ahead and show her that and show her how she could have videos on there. She can have multiple coupons, the About Us tab, testimonials, and even links to her Facebook and Twitter. And she'd be pretty impressed because it's pretty amazing, right? After you've showed her everything that we do on saveon.com, then what you can say to her is say, the best thing about all of this is that we include it in our magazine. So there's no extra cost to be on saveon.com. Does that sound good? Mm-hmm. Okay. We also do win and save contest, and we do mobile. You know that most of the people nowadays search everything through mobile marketing. Our microsite that we build for you is mobilely enhanced, right? So that way it's optimized so it shows up on the mobile phone as well, okay? And then behind that, we use search engine optimization and pay-per-click, or SEM, to go ahead and promote your microsite so that it's found when people search. And these are all added values that we do with our magazine. So if you're in our magazine, you get all this included.
That's great.
Okay, so do you guys see how quickly I'm going through the different facets? I'm not spending a whole lot of time in any certain position unless she asks us for more information, all right? Don't sit here and spend 45 minutes talking about the saveon.com, and maybe the guy doesn't even really care that much. He's just like, oh yeah, that's cool, right? But then you end up running out of time and he's got to go to a client, right? Get through it quickly, look for something that they get excited about and maybe enhance that or talk a little more about that. But other than that, keep moving, okay? You see how quickly I just went through this whole page of the Media Kit? What'd it take? Maybe 2-3 minutes? I asked a couple questions in there, and I went through that whole page, right? So Karen, really, I think, you've seen our product. I've talked to you a little bit about the company and about the fact that you get me as a consultant. I guess the main thing right now is to pick out which area we'd end up having you run in. Does that sound good?
Yes.
So now I'm going to open up the map. Once again, does it make sense to have it facing you? Okay? Take the map, face it towards the customer, and I'll let them look at it before you just start talking. Right? Give them an opportunity to look at the map. Anyone know what the first question you should ask the person to do is?
Can you find your location?
Perfect. You will not believe how many times I wrote on presentations and had the sales rep say, so Karen, you're located about right here. Remember what I said about involvement? Keep the customer involved. So Karen, where would you say that you're located at? Would you go ahead and put a little dot there?
I would say right here in Deerfield.
Okay, just put a dot right there. So I'm going to give this one to you so you can make it as messy as you want.
Okay.
All right, so now that we both know where she's located, now how many of you guys think that I didn't know where I was at? All right? I did this. I asked questions that I knew the answer to on purpose. It wasn't that I was lost, Paula. I know I'm from Michigan, but I didn't know where I was at. So now I have the customer engaged. Now, here's the second big mistake a lot of us make at this point. So Paula, if you're in zone 9, it looks like zone 9 and 7 would be the best zones for you. Am I a mind reader? No, because she might be thinking, I don't want any more of these people from zone 9. I'm trying to pull from over here in zone 10 and zone 8, right? So do you know how you can solve all that? You can say it just like this. So Karen, where would you say that you would pull most of your customers from?
Probably 7, 8, and 10.
7, 8, and 10? Okay. And if we were going to zero in, because each one of these shaded are one market, if we were going to really zero in on one area, which area would it be that you'd want to start with?
I think 7.
Okay, 7. All right, good. Let's go ahead and circle that.
Okay.
All right. And then what would be your second one, the one that we...
10.
10? Okay, perfect. So by asking these questions, I am prepared when it comes to giving her the price, whether or not, I mean, she said 3 areas, right? Of course, I'm going to talk to her about a 3-area buy, all right? But I'm also prepared if the 3-area buy isn't quite in the budget, that I can pull back to a 2-area or a 1-area buy. All because I asked the right questions right now, all right? Makes me look like a professional. Do you guys agree? And so many times, sales consultants do not ask this question. You assume that you know where they should go. Do you notice that she said that 7 is number 1 and 10 is number 2, but she's located in 9? Okay, she doesn't want to pull from 9. That's her least favorite, probably because she has a lot of existing customers there. Okay? So when you get to this portion, what is the object of having the map out? Dick. What is the object when you pull out the map and you're done with the map before you put it away? What was the objective for you?
To concentrate on basically what she's looking for, what's going to be most cost effective for her
Yep.
at the same time. and
Now,
efficient.
do you guys notice we haven't talked about price? If you've gotten to the point where you're here and you've already talked about price, you've missed something. You're doing something a little bit off, all right? Because you're trying to show value. You're not trying to sell on price, all right? If I told you that I had a car out in the parking lot for $5,000, how many of you guys would be all excited and run up here and give me $5,000? Anyone? Because I didn't build any value, am I correct? So I got to build value before I give you the price. That car happens to be a 2016 convertible. Anyone interested? Okay, couple, yeah, shaking their heads. It's a Mercedes, all right? Totally paid off. I just don't like the color red anymore. I want to go get a blue one, all right? Mint conditions, only got like a little over 1,000 miles on it. Some of them are hard miles because I wanted to test it out, right? But anyone interested? $5,000? Yeah, even if you didn't have it, you'd find it, right? All right? That's what building value is. And that's what you need to do here. When you're doing a presentation, you're building value. You're talking about the little things that it's going to make her excited about making more money, all right? It doesn't matter if the machine in the corner that kicks out a $100 bill cost her $10 or $20. Would that matter very much to you if it was 10 or 20 if it kicked out 100?
Gosh, I'd love the 100.
It's going to kick 100. Does it matter if it costs you $10 or 20?
Nope.
No, she's going to pay it either way, guys. All right? So you have to build up the value of the product. Okay? So I've gotten to this point now where I've went ahead and I've went over the map and I talked about her zones. I've asked her the right questions. Do you guys feel that I've done a good job as far as introducing the product? Is there a whole lot more that I need to say? Yet some of us go on and on and on about product knowledge when really, if we've gotten to the point that she knows which area she wants, she knows what size she likes, the only thing stopping us now from moving forward is the amount of the investment. Am I correct? Okay. So let's move on now. Recommendation. We'll go ahead and close this up. Once again, I like to keep my area clean. In the recommendation stage of your presentation, this is when you're going to recap, all right? You're going to recap her Queen of Hearts, all right? All the points that she talked about that she liked, all right? What were some of the things that Karen talked about that she liked?
3 zones.
She liked 3 zones, okay? She thought that zone 7, 10, and 9 were the good zones for her. What else?
You like the half page.
Half page. Half page was good. And the
Front cover,
front cover.
but not the back.
Not the back.
To like the quality.
I'm not going to talk about what she don't like, though, am I? She liked the quality. All of these items now, in the recap, I'm going to talk about, okay? And I'm going to reinforce them. I'm going to say, so, Karen, you know, what you were talking about is that you really felt the half page was the right size for you. And it'd be nice if we could end up moving you to the back cover, or excuse me, the front cover. You like the front cover, not the back cover. And also the fact that zone 7, 10, and 9 were the best zones for you. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So am I right that if I'm able to go ahead and come up with the right investment, the right investment price for this, that we'd be able to move forward? You
Sure.
like everything about
Depends
this?
on price.
Okay, good. Now, how many of you guys at this point would just say, okay, so it's $4.95 per zone? How many of you would just go ahead and say that right now? Because if you say the word $4.95 and leave it out there, it gives that pause. Do you guys agree? Where they got to think about it. Oh, $4.95. You see what I'm saying? If I just said, well, Karen, it's only $4.95 per zone. Even if I throw the word only in front of it, there's still that $4.95 is out there in the open by itself. I'm going to show you guys a way to go ahead now and have that $4.95 be out there, but only out there for a second, and then you're justifying the $4.95. Okay? So you get through the rest of the recommendation. All right? You're not going to sell on price. You're not going to try and push them too high. To be honest with you, with an oil change price, my years of experience, I'm going to pull her back to 1 or 2 zones. All right? I'm not going to try and push 3 zones on her. Anyone know why?
She's probably not gonna get someone from the furthest zone.
Yeah, well, and it was the close, yeah, exactly. Well, the other thing too about it is I don't want to raise her initial investment up so much that she's not getting a return quite as quickly. All right, I do feel confident after time we could add in our campaign, but I'm going to really try and go to 2 zones, all right, which means that I'm working for her now, not just thinking about myself. It's a different feeling as a sales rep, but I want to keep her in her investment somewhere around, you know, that $1,000 range. If I do the 25%, yeah.
Well, right away, she wants 3 zones, and you know where she's located, so she's obviously got her primary zone.
Yep.
Why not just go, was it 7, 8, 10? She could go 7, 8 one month, 7, 10 the next month, 7, 8.
You could do a switch back and forth if that's what you feel comfortable doing.
As long as you keep her
Yep.
in that same
The,
primary
the
zone.
only thing to remember is what is one of the keys to advertising?
Frequency.
Repetition and frequency, okay? So if I'm jumping back and only coming to a zone every 3 months, am I really doing much repetition?
It's every other month. It's just every other month.
Oh, if you're only doing 2, but if we're doing 3,
You're staying in 7 all the time, and then you're flipping 8.
and you're flipping the other 2, that's a great solution, Dick. That's a really good
And then
idea.
at the same time, you know, even though, say it's in 7, 10 the first month, you can also tell them that the people in zone 8 are actually gonna be able to view you online.
Online. Exactly. So that's a great way, and that's exactly a way that I'd identify it. So you're going over the recommendation, and at this time, Dick says, well, what I'm going to suggest to you is that you stay in your primary zone, which is zone 9, every month, and then we're going to flip back and forth between zone 8 and 10. 1 month we'll do zone 8, the next month we'll do zone 10. So that way you have every month you're showing up in the website in both of the zones, but every other month we come out with a print, and it'll be able to keep your costs down. Does that sound good? And Dick's doing that during the recommendation stage. Okay? What else is left after recommendation? What is next? Got to close them, right? It's time to close. Is there anything else that we could have done beyond this point as far as our presentation? We did needs assessment. We did product introduction, all right? And we did the recap where we talked about, and we even came up with a little bit of a solution, okay? So it's time to close them. All right, so earlier I talked about the fact that there's 12 different types of closes. Now, some of these closes, I don't think any of you guys have done, all right? So there's some old ones. How many of you guys ever did a Benjamin Franklin close? Anyone done that? Anyone know what the Benjamin Franklin close is? Benjamin Franklin close is when they say, well, Karen, usually when people come to a situation like this, back in the olden days, what they used to do is they used to take a piece of paper and draw a line down the center. And on the right side, we're going to put all the reasons why you should go ahead and run this ad. And on the left side, we're going to put all the reasons not to move forward. Okay? And now, you better hope that the right side overweighs the left side. Am I correct? All right? I don't think anyone uses the Benjamin Franklin anymore. All right? But there are a variety of these that people do use. Okay? How many of you use the assumed close, where you just assume that they're going to go ahead and move forward and you start talking about the ad, or start talking about getting the ad ready? All right? Very popular close. How about the sharp angled close? Well, if we go ahead and move forward, I'll be able to get your artwork done right away for you. All right, we need to get this all wrapped up right away because, so we can make sure we have a really nice looking ad. All right, it's all about quickly trying to get it done. All right, what about the impeding event? Where you're talking about they have an event coming up. Any of you guys ever closed because it was summertime or because they had a grand opening or an anniversary party or anything like that? And the fact that we had to hurry and get involved in this book? Okay? Right? There's a lot of different closes here that you can go and look at. All right? But I want to pull your attention to the very last one, which is my newest close. All right? I was going to call it the Doug close, but I didn't. All right? It's called the guaranteed close. All right, and there's a couple of reasons why I called it the guaranteed close, okay? The first reason is because we're using our customer evaluation sheet to close the account. Now, I know how some of you have been using the customer evaluation sheet. Basically, once you got the customer all happily involved with you, you go, oh, by the way, I got to fill out one of these forms. And you start filling it out, am I right? Okay? What I'm going to teach you now is how to use the customer evaluation sheet this sheet right here and use it to help you close the deal. Okay? So we had a great presentation. I gave you my recommendations. What I want to say to you is, now that we've done all of the closes, all right, and we're looking to finish the presentation, all right, I want to ask the questions that's going to lead to a close, all right? So here it is. I would ask the customer, right back to my famous questions again, right? Who do you use for advertising? I use TV, Valpak, Clipper, whoever. What do you like about your current advertising? All this sound familiar, guys? All right. I like the exposure. I get my name out. I feel that customer. These are all questions that I asked in the beginning. All right. That's going to help me close later on. So what I'm doing is I'm just showing you right now some of the questions you asked in the beginning to get to the point that you found out the customer, when the customer said that they liked getting their name out, they wish that they got a little more way to track or be able to tell if they got the results. You say right here, so would it be great if the company offered you a guarantee that worked? Wouldn't it be great if a company offered you a guarantee that they would work? And what would the customer say? Be great. Be great, right? You hold that into your pocket. All right? You said that during the needs assessment time. All right? That's your little star because right now, when it comes time to close, you're going to pull it back out. All right? And here you are. You're at the close. All right? So the first step in a guaranteed close is setting it up early in your needs assessment. That's step one. All of you have to ask the right questions in step one. Number two, get the customer excited about the ROI. All right? And what I mean by that is now that I've shown you the product that would fit the best for you, and you decided that a half page in zone 9 and then a rotating on 10 and 11 would work great, would be the right area, would it be okay if I qualify you for our, you notice the word qualify, would it be okay if I qualify you for our guaranteed program? Now tell them, do you notice that little bit of difference? I want to qualify her to see if she can do our guaranteed program. That means it's not guaranteed that she's going to get in on it. Does that make it seem pretty special? Almost like introducing the magazine to the table? I'm going to qualify her for our guaranteed program. Would it be okay if I qualify you for our guaranteed program?
Yeah, tell me about that.
Okay, and what it is our guaranteed program is if you and I both agree on the amount of redemption, we're going to do a form real quick, and if we come up with the right number where we both agree on it, if we're not able to hit that number in the next 6 issues, I'm going to give you 2 issues for free to go ahead and reach that number of return.
Wow.
Does that sound good?
That sounds
There's a
really
couple of things we got to go over real quick, and I got to make sure that they all work, and if they do, then I can put you on our guaranteed program.
Okay, and there's no charge for that?
Nope, it's actually included as part of this.
Okay, let's do it.
Now, doesn't that sound a little more special than, yeah, we got to go over this evaluation sheet and asking a couple questions? It kind of builds up a little bit of excitement. Do you guys agree? Okay, so now that you went ahead and you qualified her, take out the customer evaluation sheet and go over it. We all know how to fill it out, right? So now here's the part where I'm going to say the price. Remember earlier, if I threw out $4.95, it was like just kind of sticking out there for her to either say yes or no. Well, now I'm going to say the price. I'm actually going to say 2 zones price, all right? And I'm going to say it in part of the form. So here's what I'm going to do. So the monthly investment would be $9.90, and I write $9.90 down. The amount of the average sale. So what is your average ticket?
For an oil change, about $75.
About 75? Okay. So I'm writing down, I have $9.90, and then I have 75. How often does a customer return per year?
Probably 3 times.
3 times a year? Okay. 3 times. So the total annual value of a customer would be about $225. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Because I take 3 times the 75. All right, so 225. All right. How many of those customers, now we're just going to look at break even first, okay? So if each customer is worth $225 and the investment is $9.90, how many customers would I need to bring you in order to cover that investment?
Well, probably, 3 to 4.
Yeah, let's just go 4.
Okay.
We'll go to the high side. All right, so 4. Now over the 4 customers isn't going to change your business, is it? If I bring you 4 customers? All right, but over the course of the next 6 months, if I'm able to bring you 24 customers that are telling their friends and using word of mouth to get you more and more business, now I'm starting to do something. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to write down 24 for a 6-month campaign. Now, that would be basically to break even. Okay, that 24 customers that I was able to get you. Now, I'm not going to get them all up front, or I might not even get you 4 per month. You know, it might be 1 month we get 2, and the next month we might get 14. Right? But the course of the 6 issues, our goal is to get you 24 over the course. Now, the 24 customers would be a form of breaking even. Are you in business to break even? No. So if you spend $1, you want to get $1 back. Would you agree? Or $2?
I want more than 2.
You want $2? Okay. All right. So if I was to take 2 times 24, that'd be 48. Now I'm really starting to change your business. Would you agree?
Definitely.
Now, you said each customer is worth $225. Am I correct?
Yeah, right on.
If I take 48 times 225, do you have a calculator? Someone have a calculator? Do 225 times 48. 10,800 is what I would be looking to guarantee you. Now, your investment is $990. Let's just round it to 1,000. For the 6 issues, is $6,000. So you'd make $4,800 in 6 months. How's that sound?
That's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah, I like that.
Now, those are the numbers we'd be looking at agreeing on, the 48 customers over the course of the next 6 months. All right.
Okay.
Now, I still have a couple things that I have to do to make sure you qualify for the guarantee.
Okay.
But what do you think about that? I mean, making $4,800 in the next 6 months.
Yep, if it's guaranteed, I
Okay.
would be very happy.
All right, so you went over the expectation sheet with her. Now the next thing you need to do is you need to talk about what she has to do to get the guarantee. She's excited about making $4,800 in the next 6 months. Guys, did you see the way I did the form? How many of you do that form that way? Okay, and it works that way, doesn't it? It's a great way. I not only show them the 48 customers, I show them how much the dollar value is. Okay? Now, so in order for me to go ahead and process the guarantee, I have to make sure that you can do a couple things, okay? The first one is, would you allow me to put your coupons online on our saveon.com? Would you allow me to create the artwork and make sure that I come up with an ad using my professional ability that is absolutely amazing for you? Would it be okay if I use a call caption number in the ad so we can be able to judge where most of your customers are coming from. So that way we can see if they're coming from 9, if they're coming from 10. The call caption will allow us to be able to tell exactly where everyone's coming from. And if you miss a call, you could actually log in and listen to it as well.
Yeah, except I do have a very familiar phone number.
Well, the nice thing about those type of numbers is they worked amazing for billboards or for radio where people aren't writing them down. When our magazine comes out and they see your ad there, they're going to call you directly from the ad. So it's not going to matter if it's like a jingle number, 1-800-GET-OIL,
Yeah.
all right? Because they're going to call the number that's right there. The other thing is the benefits of the call tracking far outweigh the benefits of having a recognizable number.
Oh,
Yeah. And I'll be able to give you a report every month to show you how many calls you're getting.
I would like to see that.
Does that sound
Yeah.
good? Okay. And then finally, all right, are you able to offer a discount of at least 25% or greater? All right. Now, we can have a variety of different coupons, but one of them I need to make sure is a general coupon that anyone can use that's at least 25% off or greater. So, like, you know, let's say an oil change is, you know, $20, all right? We'd be looking $5 off a $20 oil change. I'm just doing an example here. But we need to be able to make sure it's at least 25% off for us to be able to get you this kind of money.
That's a lot. I
Well,
would be taking a big hit.
Let me tell you the reason why, okay? The reason why we need to be able to have an offer that's that aggressive is because we need to be able to change all these people's mind on where they're going to, all right? Their daily routine says they're going to go here, and we need to be able to give them an offer good enough to get them to switch to you once they came to you and see how amazing your service is. Like, I love the fact that you use Rain-X in your windshield fluid and all that. That's great. No one else does that, all right? Once they find out how great your service is, they're going to come back many times without a coupon, all right? But we have to get them to include you in their daily routine, and it's going to have to be a good enough coupon. Let me give you another example. Let's say that you saw an offer in a local magazine, and it was $1 off a haircut, all right? And you go and get your hair salon. Are you going to go and try a new place for $1 off?
No.
No. So that's why we need to make sure the offer is good enough to attract people. And plus, I'm showing you that we're going to guarantee you're going to get at least a $4,800 return.
My question is, can I change the ad as the months go on?
Every month we can put a different ad in.
But can I change the percentage off?
We have to be at least 25% off on one of the coupons.
Okay.
That's
Every
a guarantee. Yep. And if you can do that, I can do the guarantee program. That's the last thing. Does that sound good? All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's sign it up. So, how did I use this close? Did I make her sell herself? Did I make it feel like she almost, like, in order to do this, she had to agree with a couple things, and I made it like she really wanted to do it? Isn't that a lot different than me trying to talk her into doing it? Do you guys see the difference? Using the guaranteed close is a great alternate way of closing. I'm not telling you you have to do it all the time, but I'm telling you this type of close works extremely well. You guys agree? Is there any questions about the way I did that? Or anything you see you do a little differently? How many of you is going to try the guaranteed close? Okay. All right. It works because you're setting expectations, all right? It's the only close that we have where we're setting expectations on a return on investment. All of the other closes, the Assume, the Porcupine, the Benjamin Franklin, none of them are setting expectations. Your guaranteed close is setting expectations for your customer and for yourself. You're truly partners when you use this close. Okay? And the other thing about it is all you have to do is fill out the form. You fill out the form and you talk, and then you make these things as like, look, as long as you agree to these 4 items, I can go ahead and sign you up for the guaranteed close. So I just need you to sign right here. We're going to go ahead and move forward. All right? And then I already have my proposal, except for my proposal was for 1 zone, so I'm going to have to change it a little bit for 2 zones. All right? But I'm ready to move forward. Now, let's say that this isn't a normal customer who would just tell me, great, right? What is the next step in the sales? Oops, sorry. Let's go to the next one. Objections. Let's say that she has some objections, okay? There are two ways that you can handle an objection right away, okay? If you run into an objection at the end of a sale. Number one is you can preempt them, all right? By anticipating and responding to an objection before the prospect has even had a chance to talk about it, okay? So what does that mean? Anyone? How do you preempt something, an objection that someone might have?
By asking more questions.
By asking lots of questions in the beginning, okay?
Repeat what they say and kind of like just reaffirming it.
Reaffirming, right? By the way when you're doing your needs assessment and they tell you what they've done in other types of advertising that didn't work, you can address that ahead of time by knowing what it was, all right? I tried doing a full page and it didn't work. I spent a ton more money and I got the same amount back when I did a half page with Clipper, right? Are you going to push them on a full page? No, you can already preempt that objection by taking them right to a half page. There's a lot of examples, but by asking the right questions, you can preempt the objection. The other one is dealing with an objection as it arises. All right? She has an objection. Doug, I need to look at my budget. All right? I need to do this. I'm gonna have to think about this over the weekend. All right? Those aren't objections that I can preempt, except for in the beginning I can ask her if she's going to be able to make a decision today, but how many of you guys would ever ask that question, right? No. This is an objection that I got to handle when it happens, okay? So let's talk about a couple of those real quick. If you prepare and you do a really good presentation and you follow your flow, like I have the 9 steps, you're going to run into a lot less objections, I promise you. Because to be honest with you, how many times did I ask her if she was going to move forward during that presentation? What objection could she really give me at the end, except for maybe she had to think about it? Can you think of a different one? Did you see how I brought in the price and then I showed the value of it? Did it ever become about the price again? I threw out $990 in that sale per month. How many times did I talk about the $990? Just once. And then I went on to started talking about the $4,800 that she's going to make in the next 6 months. Yes.
I was going to comment that she was pretty easy with you on the price, and she did establish the value, but in reality, a lot of times I'm getting a lot of pushback on rates. So, I realize that's your first objection on there, too much money. And whether it's a matter of not seeing the value, but, they know what they've been offered from some of the competitors, they know what they've spent on ads before elsewhere, and they might think, gee, they might be thinking in cost per home or cost per thousand or something like that, and there might be a discussion on costs and dollars.
Well, the same thing holds true here, exactly what you just said. The reason why there's not a whole lot of discussion is, first of all, I showed my value, all right? I talked about, instead of the amount that it's the investment into this, I talked about the return, the $4,800. Larry, if I told you that if you gave me $6,000, I was going to bring you $10,800 in the next 6 months, would you be interested?
Yeah, you perk my interest.
I mean, would you tell me, no, I'm only willing to spend $3,000 for that $10,000? You have to show the value, all right? But here are some of the objections that you run into. Too much money. If it's too much money, one of two things does. Either they didn't see the value or they don't have the budget left. Okay? Those are the two things that you're going to run into, and we're going to address them. I have to talk to my partner. How many of you guys have ever heard that? I just made that one up. We've never heard that, have we? All right? Stall technique. What do you say, Paula, in the beginning?
I asked them if they were the only decision maker, if they needed anybody else to make a decision.
Okay. And what if I say, I have to talk to my partner after I already told you yes?
But you already told me that you were your decision maker.
Yeah. Well, earlier you said that you were the decision maker. Are you just trying to get rid of me?
What is it? All right, now maybe I can help you.
There you go. I need some time to think about it. What's that sound like, Mario?
That sounds like a stall.
It does.
Yeah.
How many of you have called up your manager after you just did an amazing presentation? I'm talking about the light outside got brighter. Even in a room, the light got brighter. You know, you could hear birds singing because it was such an amazing presentation. You got it all done, and then the guy said, you know what, Mario, that is the best presentation I've ever heard. All right? You come back next Tuesday, I'm signing up. And you went out of there skipping and hopping, and you called your manager, blah, John, he's going to sign up next Tuesday. And John's like, oh, okay. And then you go in next Tuesday, and the guy forgets your name. All right? Or he doesn't have time to talk to you. Or you're chasing him for the next 3 months going, but you told me that next Tuesday. All right? Guys, it is a stall tactic. It's something to get you out of there. Yes, Paula?
But you only have half page left, it's gonna be gone, sorry.
Talk to them about the fact that you need to get it done right away. The other thing is, you can pull back. If you run into an objection like that, pull back to what I talked to you about earlier, my questions. So Karen, I understand that it is an investment and that you want to make sure that you make the right decision, right? Is it okay if I ask you a couple questions? Right? So remember, questions are the way to get through anything. What do you like about our magazine, Karen?
Well, I told you the colors and the shiny paper.
Okay. Anything else? Do you like the area that it goes to, the coverage?
Yeah, the areas are good. I just, the thing that concerns me is I have to, for my area, I would have to buy three zones.
Okay. So she told me right there, she told me what the true objection was. She's concerned about the fact that she had to buy 3 areas. Now, I could have asked her, I could have said, what don't you like about it? Or what would you change about it? And she would have told me that she had to, but she just gave it out right away. Now, what can I do, guys? What can I do to solve that situation? Anyone know? She wants to cover, yes.
You can kind of go back to what Dick said. You say, well, how about if we we work with your primary zone and then we alternate?
Well, and we did do that, the alternate thing. I think it's still a budget thing. Maybe instead of trying to get 25% commission, I could drop down to 20, and then I could talk about how I could lower the cost of one of the areas. I could take that whole percentage off one of them. Let's see, what's the difference between 20 and 25 out here, guys?
It's huge.
It's what, about $75? Am I right? I think it is about $75. So what if I was able the third area, and I understand, with us bouncing back and forth, but what if that second area is able to give you about $150 off?
That would help.
Would that make you feel, and I can still get that $4,800 return we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
So instead of making 25, I made 20. Would we be able to move forward if I was able to do that for you, Karen?
Could you do that with a second zone?
150 off the second zone?
Yeah.
Let me look at it. Maybe I gotta go to 15%. Maybe I said, nope, I can only do 100 off the 2 zones. The second zone, I'd only be able to do about 100 off. Whatever the case is, guys. You work with them, but you find out what their objection is. And you stay at that 20%. Had I walked in there and said, you know what, I can do that half page for $325, where do I got to go? Nowhere. I have a lot to work with when I'm at 485. Okay? Come back next week and I'll do it. We just talked about that one. All right? What's going to change between next week and today? I want to give you the 8 steps. I'm not going to go into objections right now. I'm just going to give you some of the steps to handling an objection. Step number 1, repeat the objection. Anyone know why we repeat the objection?
Give
yourself a
time,
little
get your thoughts.
Buy yourself a little time. Let them hear how stupid it sounds. So, Dick, you're not going to advertise because you're worried that aliens are going to come and get you.
Yeah, I get that's coming next week.
You're not going to advertise because you're worried about who the next president's going to be. You're not going to advertise because you're going to end up closing, you're going to go out of business, but it's not for a while, like 2 years, right? Whatever the case may be, repeat it back. Excuse me. Once you've repeated it back to them, what do? Remain silent. Let them talk. Okay? Gather information from what they're saying. Check your understanding of that information. All right? And then trial close. That should lead to handling that objection. If for some reason you checked at customer satisfaction and they're not 100% sold on it, then what you end up doing is go ahead and redo those stages again. All right? Otherwise, you go ahead and move for a close. Ask them. So let me give you an example real quick. So Karen's objection was the fact that she had to go to 3 areas in order to hit the area that she was interested in. So Karen, if I'm correct, your concern is that you have to go to 3 zones to cover the area you're interested in.
That's correct.
Okay. And that was kind of to remain silent. She said that's correct. She didn't give me a whole lot more. So from here, I want to gather more information. So are those 3 areas very important to you to cover all 3 of them? We talked about jumping back and forth. Or is it more the cost of having to hit all 3?
Well, it's the cost because you're charging me 3 times for 3 zones.
Okay. No, and that's I just wanted to make sure that I had an understanding of whether it was the fact that you had to go to 3 different areas or how much the investment was. I mean, you did like the fact that over the next 6 months you'd end up making about $4,800 with a guarantee. Okay. All right. So, Karen, if I was able to go ahead and go from, let's say I was able to take $150 off one of the areas, would that be something of interest to you?
Yeah, sort of. How about two zones?
Off 2 of the zones?
2 of the
Well,
zones.
what if instead of 150 off 2 of the zones, I was able to do 100 off each of the zone? Would that be interested to you?
Yeah, I would have to think about it though.
Okay. What is the difference? But is that $50 really holding us up here?
Well, you know,
You wouldn't have to think of it if I went to 150, right?
I think I would still have to think
You
about
have to think about it.
Yeah.
Karen, if I was able to roll in a machine here, right, and it'd kick out a $100 bill, if you put a 20 in it, would you do it?
Of course.
All day long, right?
Yeah.
What if I told you that machine costed 30?
Okay.
Still do it?
Yeah.
Probably 50, you'd still do it.
Yeah.
You're doubling your money, right? So I have a machine here, and it's going to work absolutely amazing for you. And I'm even going to give you a guarantee that if we invest this amount, we're going to be able to kick out $4,800 for you.
Okay.
We don't want to wait because, like I said, we have very limited amount of space in our magazine, and there's a lot of people. I'm really interested in getting an oil change in this area, and I think that this product would work amazing for you.
But here's my question. What if, I know you're giving me this guarantee, so what if I don't make that 4,800?
Then what we do is we do 2 more issues completely on us, and to go ahead and hit those numbers. But I want to tell you what you get during the course of those 6 months. I'm going to go to work for you. If I notice we're not hitting our numbers, I'm going to bump you up to a larger ad. I'm going to put you in more areas. I'm going to do whatever I can do to make sure that you hit those numbers.
At no cost?
No, I'm not going to charge you anything extra. What you and I come through at a deal here is what we're going to end up doing.
That's pretty good.
And on top of that, I'm going to take $100 each of the 2 areas for you.
I like that. I like that.
Does that
deal
sound good?
Much better.
All right. Well, are we ready to move forward?
Sure.
Okay. So what I did is I did all the stages. I trialed closed. She still had more objections. I handled that objection, repeated it back, and then I moved to a close. I did have to go from 25% commission down to 20% commission, but because I started up high, I was able to do that. Do you guys agree? You see how that works? If you start low, you could have never done that. Okay? All right. Thank you letters. How many of you guys send out thank you letters? Not very many of us, right? What do you send a thank you letter for?
Their business and, doing business.
Whenever you sign someone up, you send a thank you letter. Okay? What do you send a thank you letter for?
Thank you, email, thank you for your business and trust.
Okay?
I said, thank you for the time
Okay?
spent.
After our presentation?
Yeah.
Guys, there's quite a few different reasons to send thank you letters here at Saban. Okay? First one is if you have a telephone contact, all right? Thanking them for talking with you on the phone today. All right? Just shooting them a quick email, going over the information you talked about. Thank you so much for taking the time to time to talk to me today. Here's the information that you and I talked about on the phone. I look forward to reaching back out to you. All right? Thanking them for a demonstration or presentation. How many of you guys have ever did a presentation and you didn't get to close that day? You sent a thank you letter and they ended up, once you restated everything in the thank you letter, they ended up going with you. Anyone ever had that happen? Mario? I've had it happen a lot of times. The thank you letter almost works as a second visit. Next thing, thank you for your purchase. Like a couple of you say you do. Send out a thank you letter. All right, that's important. Letting the customer know you appreciate it. Especially after you work so hard at a presentation, followed up with a thank you. Thank you for the referral. All right, you guys are getting referrals now. Send out a thank you letter, thanking them for it. Thank you for the final refusal. I mean, I gotta thank them for telling me no? Yes. Keep that relationship going. Thank them for the fact that they took the time to consider it. And there's a chance that they'll come back around and work with you again. Yes?
Does email work in all these?
Oh yeah,
examples?
email, however you want to do it. Any questions?